that's my cheesy intro. Um, haven't had time to really put anything together as far as intros or anything like that. So that's what you get. As you'll figure out, this show is kind of cut and dry, black and white, a little gray. But welcome back. Beyond the Bounce has been on hiatus here as I moved, started a new job, got to start a new business, and so everything's kind of put together, and it's time to talk some basketball and shenanigans and banter and all that stuff. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the first month or so of the season. Probably seen some of you listeners out there in the gym if you've watched St. Clair play as my son's playing with them, or maybe you've been lucky enough to have me with a whistle around my neck and officiating. I've done a handful of those also and enjoy it. I actually have one tonight. I'll be in Waseca doing a girls' game over there. But welcome back. It's glad to be back. It was a month or so, tidying up things, some personal stuff, and it's amazing how busy life can get. But I'm not alone. Everybody's got their own schedule, their own demons, their own priorities, and mine are coming into place, and thus I get to sit and talk with you guys about what I think is important about the sport of basketball. So let's get after it. I think the first topic I really want to address is just kind of the start of the season and what I've seen. As you all know, I'm a St. Clair guy. My son goes there. I coached there for a long time. I also officiate, and so I've seen a lot of Class 2A ball. I've also worked the holiday tournament there at Bethany, which was fun, and congratulations to Fairmont and Jared on that championship this year. Also to Janesville, who played in the championship game, their first year back into it, maybe forever, or maybe it's their first year being in it. But anyways, it was their first year. They got a nice team, and they gave them all they could handle, and Fairmont worked it out in the end. But I've seen, man, I tell you what, there's good basketball, and then there's some really really bad basketball, and I don't know. I know numbers. All right, let's some of the key points. Right, numbers are down, and when you talk about especially girls high school basketball, the numbers are just horrendous. When you look at the underclassmen playing varsity, and the you go, as officials, right? You count the players. A lot of times there's 10 to 15, 16. You can have up to 18. There's been games where there's 7 or 8, and I know it's a problem both here in Minnesota and Iowa, our neighboring states. It's all over. So it's few and far between to have a night where you got a really good competitive game. Um, but there have been a few. So far, you know, parents and everybody wants to talk about, being an official and putting up with the crap that you put up with. And I'll be honest with you, it's been pretty good. I don't think we've had too many huge problems. I know there was something going over social media with a local association. Somebody, one of the parents was getting a little bit rambunctious and agitated, and they actually got removed from the contest and actually banned from the property, I believe, for the rest of the winter season. So, I tell you what, I'm a parent. I sit in the stands. I can't sit next to anybody else. I sit by myself. So, um, if you're out there and you're watching St. Clair boys play and you see me sitting by myself, it's not because I'm a stuck up dick um, or anything like that. It's when you coach for as long as I did and now officiate. I just hate to sit amongst all the fans and listen to some of the things that are said. And instead of biting my tongue, um, I just go sit by myself. So whether you like it or not, I don't really care. That's that's my gig, and I enjoy talking about the game with my parents and my son afterwards, and that's really all I care about. Um, so all in all, I tell you what, all you hear about are the horror stories. You never hear about the good, and I wish they would do more of the good stories, the good games, the crowd. The crowd at Le Sueur last night was really good. Their cheering section was phenomenal, and so um, I thought that was until the end when they went, start chanting USA. And I think if you've been around sports and have teenagers, you know what USA stands for, and maybe they were just being patriotic with the inauguration on Monday, but a lot of them probably don't even know that that's occurring. So, um, anyways, it's all fun. We're all young once. It's part of the experience, and as long as nobody's feelings get hurt too bad, have at it. So that's my take on the environment so far, and we're going to touch a little bit more on how the basketball part of it has been not good. There's one team, Mankato East. I officiated them a couple weeks ago, and I'd hate to play against them. They're suffocating defense and offensively they share the ball. They're a good team, probably the best team I've had a chance to work or to see. Um, so, um, yeah, I just got a notification of the meeting. Guys still got to work, but I would hop on, at least get this thing started, get through this first break, and then we'll be back to talk a little bit more specific basketball, specific teams, and what we're looking forward to the rest of not just this week since it's Friday, as I'm coming to you here, but as we look forward to the next month or so. Thanks for listening. Enjoy these this soothing music as we go to break. I'll be back with you shortly. All right. Um, let's dive a little bit. We'll talk a little bit coaching strategy and what I've seen watching games and also officiating games. And for all you coaches out there or even parents, maybe they're wondering what in the hell's going on when you watch your son or daughter play. Um, there's there's a distinct difference between coaching styles and coaches who understand the makeup of their team and what offense and defense are supposed to run, and then coaches who just have one thing in their mind, and it doesn't matter about who they have playing for them. They try to use a concept not molded around the players that they have, and it's very very noticeable to myself, and I'm not gonna sit here and say that parents aren't smart because um, they get it also. And so if you're a coach out there and you got guys that are 6'1", your centers maybe 6'2" with the tall shoes on, you can't run certain offenses that require a big or a defense, and you can even play zone because you can't match up. But if you're going to play zone, do you play in front or behind the post? I've seen some teams that okay, we can't match up, so we're going to go 2-3 zone. Okay, you're going to go 2-3 zone, but yet your 6-foot guard or your 6-foot center is going to stand behind the post. Well, you can't have ball pressure in a non-trapping type zone, and so if you're going to play behind the post, um, either maybe you dig it out, maybe you send a guard to dig it out, maybe you don't. But if you're going to do those types of things, undersized. When I played, I had a lot of or when I coached, I had a lot of undersized centers, and so a couple concepts, right? You can front the post, but if you front the post, you better have ball pressure, because if you front the post, up until maybe that second block, and then you got to get behind so they can't just throw it over. But if you front the post and you get ball pressure to make that pass accurate with help side help there in the middle of the lane is very, very difficult. And so you can't front the post and not have ball pressure. There's combinations that you really need to think about. And I know it's hard to find coaches, and it's really hard to find good quality coaches and knowledgeable with all those aspects, especially young ones that just haven't seen enough. But that's what I. Hey, I don't know it all, but those are some of the things that I learned as my years went on, and so another thing, press, right? Maybe you think you have to be able to create turnovers. Your defense has to create offense. But I think you really need to sit down and look at and chart the possessions. If you have huddle or if you got something that you can look at, fast break points and break down without spending, your nights and evenings away from your family doing that. Um, you need to know, is your press hurting you or is it helping you? Um, is the game going fast hurting your offense because now all of a sudden your talent level isn't quite there, and but yet you think you got to press to create turnovers, yet the game's speeding up, and if the game's speeding up and your talent level isn't great, your turnover margins, your turnover is going to be high, and so you really got to look and not just be tunnel visioned. You got to diversify what you're thinking about, your personnel, and those things, and it's hard because you just don't have time. You don't get paid anything hardly for coaching high school, and to throw all those factors together, it can be difficult. But and if you're a parent and you're sitting there and you're wondering, you're thinking about that's why I'm throwing these things out there, right? It's post catches. Is somebody getting scored on all the time? Okay, well, it's not necessarily the post defender's fault. Is there ball pressure? Um, was the backside help not there when it was supposed to be? There's a lot of things, and that's where good teams and team defense, you depend on each other, and but that's all made up with how your game plan and your coaching staff teaches it. Well, first knows it and understands it, but then being able to teach it and execute it on the floor, especially in high pressure moments, um, is really what good teams and good programs, good coaches have going for them. And Mapleton year after year, Coach Osterman, defensively, they are just rock solid. Mankato East, they help, they talk more than any team I think I've been on the floor with. And year after year, you know, they're they're not only in section tournaments and state tournaments, but if you look at their defensive pressure and their defensive numbers, they're usually leading or close to the top of their section charts. So defensively, those are some of the concepts, and offensively, it really does have a lot to do with talent. I'm not gonna bullshit you there. You either got guys and gals that can shoot it and score. If if your offense and your motion offense or your scheme, if your offense relies on that to score every possession, it's really hard to average over 40, 50 points, just because that means you're scoutable, right? I mean, everybody has access to just about all the film these days. You can see what you're running, and you can take things away, and especially if you don't have the talent to try to combat what they're doing defensively, it can be really hard. And so some simple concepts, um, you know, are obviously I'm not going to sit here and try to explain offenses because you're not going to get it anyways. But by all means, right? I mean, send me an email, give me a call, go look, just go watch games. I mean, how many college games I watched and sat down and we ran motion offenses based off college teams every single year. The year we went to the state tournament, it was Virginia's, the mover blocker offense. We had bigs and we had guards, and we averaged 72 points a game running that, and it was a disciplined motion offense, and we really liked it. And of course, Coach Bennett, they ran it very well, and so you know, coaching is a game of you steal ideas, you steal concepts. Nobody's come up with an original offense. So if you say I wrote that, I came up with that, I'll call bullshit. Um, but congratulations, if it works for you, it works for you. There's underneath out of bounds plays that I ran for 20 years and they work every single time. I don't understand why, but they do. So yeah, that's my spiel. I don't want to go too much longer. We're about at the end of my time. But a couple teams. I just want to give a shout out to a couple teams, and we're coming into one of my favorite times. That's Coaches versus Cancer time at the end of the month, and St. Clair's event, if you're interested, I believe is February 1st. There's a double header, boys girls, Janesville. I think boys and girls come to St. Clair, and it's a Saturday, I believe. Um, but the shout out goes, St. Clair. Obviously, I love the programs and cheer for them. But Janesville and what they're doing over there the last couple of years. Of course, I coached Brandon Goebel, who's the head girls coach over there, and they're doing very, very good things. They got a good group of players, and their backing is very, very good. So they'll be coming over. A shout out to both them, boys and girls teams. They're having quality starts to their season. Obviously, Mankato East, I think is one of the best high school basketball teams I've seen in several years. I think they're better than they were a year ago, even. And then shout out to Medelia down there and what Coach Van He is doing down there, and we've always had heated competition, but boy, he works his butt off, and I know they got beat in the rematch down at Fitz last night, but I think that was their first loss. So the Blackhawks are doing good things out west of here. So just a few shout outs. Hey, I'm going to get rolling here. I appreciate you coming back. You can listen to this podcast and all future podcasts. I'm still trying to get out in the gym and do some play-by-play. We'll try to get at that again. I apologize for the hiatus, but life happens. Life comes first. Family comes first, and now we've got everything pretty much settled. So hopefully this becomes a regular weekly or a couple times a week podcast. You can listen to it wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, just to name a few. That is going to do it. If you see me in a gym, I'll be at Waseca tonight. This won't be out till tomorrow, so good luck. Well, I might get it out yet this afternoon, but good luck to all your teams, unless you're playing St. Clair. And we will see you. Remember, take it easy on the officials. We're not perfect. We didn't wake up in the morning and say, hey, I want to go screw this team or that team. We work our butt off. There's a lot going on every single play. Last thing, this is something that came up, is if there's a play that happens in a game and you are sitting there as a fan or a parent or a coach or whatever, wondering what the heck just happened, why wasn't there a foul? Think about that. So as an official, you have to see the play. You have to analyze what happened, who was or wasn't in proper defensive position, offensive positioning, all those things. And so as an official, if you see a play happen and you're thinking, what in the world was that? How are you ever going to call a foul? And so many times that happens, especially with lower level or just the quality of basketball isn't as high. You have a lot of those things. And just because there's contacts and bodies hit the floor doesn't mean there's a foul. So if you're sitting there and you're wondering what in the world was that and why wasn't there a foul, put yourself and think of something to blow the whistle and have a call within about a second or half a second. That's what we're tasked with. It's not an easy job. The better the basketball, the easier it gets. But just want to throw that out there. But anyways, hey, thanks for listening. Glad you're back. I'm glad to be back. Hope to talk to you a lot more in the near future. This is Beyond the Bounce podcast. Charlie Freitag, Southern Minnesota. Come back again. For now, that's it. Remember, there's no such thing as over the back. It's a push. See ya.